Hey everyone, this is Ken here from the AT&T fan page, and today we're going to take a quick tour and a first look at the Nokia Lumia 1520, which is available now on AT&T. They have an internet special going on. You can get it for $99.99 for a new activation or a 2-year update for a contract extension. You can colors available are black, yellow, red, and white. So blue is not available at the time of this recording, but you never know. It could be available soon. Hopefully, we'll see. Before we get into the device over here, obviously center stage, we're going to talk about what's in the box. I'm not going to do a traditional unboxing in a sense. You get your standard wall wart, your micro USB charging wire, which is used to obviously charge the phone and for data and syncing stuff. What I'm going to talk about real quick is the paperwork that they give you in there. They throw this in here, which is a pretty cool quick start guide. It's a little bit different than your traditional pamphlet, booklet kind of style thing. It's very laid out very simply, and it's an easy reference guide. It shows you how to get started with your new Nokia Lumia device, and it shows you how to also migrate over from another phone and stuff like that. It's just basically laid out very simply. If you've never had any kind of experience and this is your first Windows kind of phone, it shows you how to set it up, which is a good thing. So that's one thing that's in the box. The other thing that's in the box is obviously when the phone was produced, it wasn't shipped with the Nokia camera app, which has been recently added to the Windows App Store. So they give you this little quick thing. If you want to scan the QR code, you can scan the QR code and just download it to your phone right away, or you can just go into the marketplace also and download it that way. But I thought this was pretty cool. This Nokia camera app, it pretty much gives you the same functionality of the Nokia Lumia 1020, excuse me. And it gives you those dial controls where you can manually dial in on the white bounce, the ISO speed, the aperture, things of that sort. You can manually focus in on stuff, which is great if you really want to get a little bit more into doing camera stuff and photography. You can also fall back on the default settings, which is automatic. Nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you want to tweak it a little bit. If you want to really find focus on something, you can use the Nokia camera app, which is a great tool to have in addition to what's on board with the phone also. And last but not least is the product safety guide, your warranty information and everything else is in this little pamphlet. And it's basically for safety and also your warranty, and shows you how to register your phone and stuff like that. So also I want to thank AT&T personally for lending us this unit for review today. They've been real great to us and we very much appreciate that. So this is basically the Nokia Lumia 1520. This device is huge, and that's an understatement. This is a big device. It's bigger than a Note 3. It has a 6-inch display, and it's basically laid out in the same fashion that every Windows phone is laid out. You have your tiles and your live tiles. The thing about this is, if I can bring it a little closer, is you can actually have an extra row of tiles here. Basically on all the other devices like the 920, the 900, the 1020, so on and so forth, you basically have the first two sections that go on your screen, but being that there's more real estate on this display, you can fit an entire row of applications and stuff over here. So it makes for better when you're setting up the phone and you don't have to scroll down as much all the time to get to certain things. You can keep it more up top as to all of the things that you use most on the phone. That being said, you know, there's more real estate on the screen. You can set it up a little bit easier to your likings. I'm from one, I have the 920, the Lumia 920. I don't like to scroll all the way down and keep scrolling down to get to stuff. So I kind of set it up where I leave like the stuff that I access 99% of the time. I try to keep it on the first screen, you know, without scrolling down too much. And adding things, you know, keep pinning them to the display, because you'll end up just keep continuously scrolling, which isn't a bad thing, but for a phone like this where you have the extra space, you can utilize it, and you can get that much more on your screen, on the start screen here and on the front, and you know, it's just overall it's just much better. So okay, let's start at the back of the device. Okay, this is matte black, which is great. Okay, it's a little bit of a fingerprint magnet, but not as much as the glossy finish on some of the other Nokia Lumia phones. You have a 20 megapixel camera here, and that records in 1080p 60 frames a second on this phone. So unlike the 920 Lumia, the 900, the 1020, which only record video in 1080p at 30 frames a second, this has the capability of going 60 frames a second. You have your dual LED flash, okay, which is good, because most of the 900, the 920, and the smaller model Nokias have a single LED flash, except for the 1020, which obviously has the dual flash, and then also you have on the bottom is where your micro USB connection goes. And then on this side of the phone, you're going to have everything's on one side like all of the other Nokia Lumia devices. You're going to have your dedicated camera key, which is on mostly all of the Lumia devices. And then you're going to have over here is your power cycle and your lock for your lock screen and your power on and off. Up on the top is the volume rocker. And then on the front of the phone, you have your proximity sensors on this side. You have a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera on this side. Excuse me, let me get out of this menu real quick. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, which records only at 720p, 30 frames a second. So out of the front-facing camera, there's you can't record 1080p. But when you're doing like video chat and stuff, and video phone calls, and you're taking self-portraits and everything, that is pretty much good enough. I mean, it really don't need to have it record in 1080p. And then you have your proximity sensor on the middle here is your speaker, and your earpiece. On the back is the charging. Now, as far as the wireless charging is concerned, it doesn't support the Qi wireless charging like the 920 does. It supports the PMA, which is something that AT&T is pushing. So I have a Qi charger, and this won't charge on it. Pretty simple. So if I was going to own this phone, I would have to go out and get another wireless charger that supports that charging technology that's inside the phone. Then over here on this side of the phone, if you guys can pick it up real good, I'll see if I can focus in on that a little bit better. You have your micro SIM slot, and also on the other side is the SD card slot, the micro SD card slot. The micro SD card slot supports up to 64 gigabytes of expandable storage. This particular model here, the 1520, is a 16 gigabyte internal storage. So 16 gigabytes with the 64 gigabytes, you're going to have I guess roughly 80 gigabytes of total storage on the phone. Now it does sound like a lot, but if you're taking tons of pictures with a 20 megapixel camera, it could swallow it up quick if you don't pay attention to it and monitor it and utilize your phone and syncing it with your computer and then moving files back and forth. Also, when you're recording video in 1080p, it takes up a lot of space. So it's something that you might want to consider. It does have expandable storage, which none of the other Lumias have at this time, so that's a great thing. It does have a 6-inch display on the diagonal here, so it's 6-inch phablet from Nokia. It's considerably bigger than the Note 3. It's not wider than it, but it is taller than it by at least almost a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch taller than the Note 3. The pixel count on this, so this is an IPS display, pure black. The pixel count is 367 pixels per inch, and I believe the Note 3 is 386 on a 5.5 inch screen, and this is 367 ppi on a 6-inch screen. So it's super clear, and the blacks are super black. Like in the front of the screen, I can't even tell by looking at it with my own eyes where the screen ends and the bezel begins. That's how black the screen is. And that's when the screen is off or on. You really can't even tell where the border is. You have to really bring the phone close up to your face, really close to look at it. So, just want to go over everything, make sure I didn't miss anything. Of course, on the top of the phone, you're going to have your 3.5mm headphone jack. Okay, standard dead center on the top of the phone. The phone comes in at just under 9mm thick, which is pretty good for the size of the device. It's nice in the hand. It's well bounced. It's not clumsy feeling, and it's not clumsily built. The phone is built quality. I'll show you that. It's quality built. It's Nokia. They make really great phones. The display is beautiful. 1080p display panel. You can't go wrong with that. And I myself have just changed over, as many of you guys might have known on the page. I changed over from using Android as my primary device and going into Windows. And my experience with Windows so far on 920 has been an excellent one. I can't complain about it. As you see every day, the app selection is growing. I think faster than it has over the last couple of months. We recently got an Instagram today. Instagram was released today. Vine is on here. Nokia is updating and revamping and refreshing their apps constantly. So there's a lot of good things going on with the device. Unlike in years past, there's been a lot of attention paid to the platform, and it deserves the attention it's supposed to have, because actually it's being that Nokia took over basically making Windows phones, they've done an excellent job with the devices, and they deserve to they're showcasing the Windows phone the way it should be showcased. That's pretty much about all I could say as far as the laid out specs with the phone. Oh, obviously it's running on a quad-core Qualcomm 800 series processor, which is the first for Nokia and Windows Phone. First, with being that it has quad-core, and the first that it has 800 series processor, which is the top of the line processor right now in 2013. We don't know what January and February of next year is going to bring. But right now, as far as specs are concerned, this is one of the top spec phones for Windows. It is a top spec phone for Windows, barring the camera, which on the 1020 has a 41 megapixel camera, which is the best camera Nokia Lumia phone. This has a 20 megapixel camera, which is fantastic. But the specs in here can compete and go against any Android phone right now, because it has a 2.3 gigahertz processor, 800 series Snapdragon. So all of the Android phones that are out right now, including the Note 3, Nexus 5, and LG G2 and stuff like that, they all have 800 series processors. So this device is very up to date in terms of specs. If anyone's considering getting this, you might want to visit your AT&T store or retailer first to get a feel for it in your hand. It is a very large device. I have medium-sized hands, but it is a two-handed device. Unless you have really large hands, you won't be able to use this device with one hand. It is big and it is noticeably large, and when you hold it up to your ear, it is noticeably large. So anybody that owns a Note 3 won't think that much of it because it's really not that much larger than a Note 3. But if you coming off of like a 4-inch displayed phone or a 4.5-inch displayed phone, it's going to be a huge jump from a 4.5 to a 6-inch display. But the device is excellent. I just got it in today for review, and I wanted to share some stuff with you guys on it. I myself, even though Windows Phone has been out for close to a little over 3 years now, I'm new to the platform because I just jumped in with my 920 and took it on as my primary daily driver. So my Windows Phone, I'll be using Windows Phone as my primary OS and Android as my backup OS right now. So I'm running off of both of them. As I see Windows Phone progressively getting better, I don't really think that I'm gonna move away from Windows Phone because the fluidity of the OS and the platform, the OS is very smooth. This doesn't really need probably a quad-core processor to run great because the OS is smooth enough as it is. Being that it has a quad-core processor, you really won't notice a lot of enhancements with going from one thing to the next unless you're playing games and stuff. If you're playing graphically intense games, then that's where it's going to kick in. So you don't lose that frame rate that much and you don't feel that sluggishness when you're playing the game, as if you would maybe, experience it a little bit if you were on a dual-core device. But as far as, going through the screens and stuff, scrolling up and down, it's already snappy as it is with a dual-core processor. You notice it a little bit with a quad-core processor that it quickens it up a little bit, but it's not something that's drastic when you're dealing with the OS and like opening applications and stuff. That's pretty much the same speed. You're going to notice it more when you go and you're diving into these, these heavy, graphically intense games that demand a lot of processor power in order to keep the frame rates and the experience flowing on the game when you're playing it. So a lot of your higher-end racing games and stuff like that are going to be, any kind of 3D game and stuff like that is going to utilize and call upon the extra power of the processors that are inside the phone. So, like I said, so we just want to, we want to thank AT&T again for graciously extending us this unit for review. This is the Nokia Lumia 1520. Just came out on AT&T about a week ago, I guess, a little bit less than a week. This is matte black. That's the finish on here, and I actually like this finish, the matte black. The phone looks excellent in black. Of course, it looks great in any color, but it looks really good and sharp in matte black. And like I said, if you have the time, you can visit your store, play around with it. The display is excellent, 1080p, high pixel density for a 6-inch display phone like this. It's very high pixel density. Contrast ratio is great. The colors, are great. Some oversaturation on some parts of the phone, but nothing too major. And I just wanted to let you guys see it, on the side there, not thick at all. I guess it weighs roughly about 5 ounces, I'm saying. Maybe a little bit over 5 ounces, but for a 6-inch, big phone like this, it's not very heavy. But I don't think that this phone, you have to be a certain genre kind of people to get a phone of this size, 6 inches, because this is not a phone that you're going to be sticking in your pocket. quite honestly. This is a phone that you're going to maybe toss in a bag if you're carrying a bag, if you have your laptop in your bag or a tablet and you want to throw your phone in there. You can put it in your pocket, but I don't, if you put it in your front pocket, depending on what kind of pants you're wearing, it's not going to be too comfortable when you're bending down and stuff. Um, it depends. It's a preference kind of thing. Uh, I would love the phone if the phone came in like maybe a 5-inch display. If this phone was just like this exactly with a 5-inch display, I would hop right on it and get it immediately. But I just wanted to give you guys a look, and I'll be doing a written review on it. Hopefully sometimes next week. So keep an eye out on our website, which is attwp.com, which stands for AT&T Wolfpack. Once again, this is Ken, and I'd like to thank everybody, and you all have a great day. Take care. Peace.